Are we having theme music? Like, how do we... Is it just start with us talking?
Yeah, Dave's gonna do us some, like, a jingle, I think.
Dave.
Nah.
Danielle.
2 limes and a lemon.
Hello, welcome everybody to the inaugural 2 Limes and a Lemon podcast. I picked the movie today, so I'm the host for today. My name's Danielle, and let me introduce you to my 2 co-hosts, Dave and Natalie. Say hello, guys.
Hi.
Hello, guys.
To get us going, I thought we could do a little bit of an icebreaker and see what everybody's been consuming for the week. Now, consuming doesn't necessarily mean food. It could be, or it could be food if you want, if there's something they ate this week that you're really excited about. Or, you know, whatever media you're consuming for the week, movies, books, music, etc., etc. Who wants to start us off?
I'll go first.
Go on, Nat.
I have been watching on Disney Plus Good American Family, which is the
true. I don't know that.
It's the true story of, you know, the movie The Orphan, where she's like a 50-year-old woman.
Oh, yeah.
And it's got Ellen Pompeo from Grey's Anatomy in it.
Is it any good?
Why has that touched your heart?
Touched my heart? I didn't know how to touch my heart. I just thought it had to be something I was watching this week.
Dave?
Oh, what have I been consuming?
You not ready? You want me to go mine?
This week I watched the Minecraft movie, because that's topical. Might as well bring it up. I didn't go on my own. I went with my nieces and my brother. I thought there was one joke that was well delivered,
okay,
right at the end, but the rest of it was just the same thing, like repeating. It was like this whole like run away, get to another location, get the thing that you need, run away, fight some stuff. But yeah, that's my piece of pie this week.
Your piece of pie.
Piece of pie.
Yeah.
Related but not quite. My thing that I have been utterly obsessed with is I've been playing the Blueprints game on PlayStation. It is free. Yeah, you get it's like day of release on the PlayStation Plus. Is that what the service is called?
Yeah.
And so got it free, and it's like scratching all the itches in my brain. Like it's puzzles and a little bit of mystery and creepy music and haunted house. And the premise is you've inherited this house from a dead relative on the contingency that you can find the 46th room in the house. So every day starts and you're in the entryway and you have three different doors to pick, and you go to the door and it gives you a selection of 3 rooms that you so that you start building out the rooms in the house. And so you want to, connect the doorways together and make sure you can get as far up to the top. So I think, without further ado, let's get to the feature of today, which is, we've decided this series of the podcast theme is going to be Hear Me Out. And so each of us is going to pick a Hear Me Out movie, a movie that probably most people do not highly regard, but for some reason each individual loves. And I guess we're going to try and see if we're either torturing or also inundating the other 2 into loving the same film. So my Hear Me Out today is Grease 2.
Woo! We should have like a drum roll.
Woo! So Grease 2 was filmed in 1982. It's supposed to take place 2 years after the original Grease. And in my opinion, it is the superior sequel to a well-loved classic Grease, which everybody puts on a pedestal. My argument today is Grease 2 is a better film.
Well, that is a bold statement.
I hope to defend my opinions today. Top line synopsis is we go back to Rydell High, the site of the original Grease, where again you have a bunch of 30-somethings playing teenagers. It's similar. It's basically the same story as Grease. There's the cool kid and the weird transfer student. And then the shy, quiet, weird transfer student falls in love with the cool kid and has to change themselves to get their love, the way love works in real life.
Obviously.
This is the story of Michael Carrington. He's supposed to be Sandy from the original Grease's cousin. He's transferred to Rydell High, and he's like kind of shy and nerdy. And he falls for, I will say, feminist icon Stephanie Zanoni, played by Michelle Pfeiffer in her first on-screen role. What does this movie have that Grease didn't has? It's got bowling. It's got fallout shelters. It's got talent shows. It's got luau's. Everything you want in a film. It's campy, it's fun. The songs are like super memorable and sing-alongable. You've got this cast of stars in early roles that later went on to very recognizable things. So again, Michelle Pfeiffer, established film actress, went on from Grease 2 to Scarface, which is kind of what got her known. Max Caulfield, the second lead in this, you may recognize as Rex Manning from Empire Records, another cult classic film. Lorna Luft, who is Judy Garland's other daughter, not Liza. And then all the teachers and things from the school are these like classic Hollywood stars that probably weren't getting work at the time. And so this was kind of giving them some jobs to do. Adrian Zmed, who plays Johnny, the like leader of the T-Birds, the gang in the film. He went on to 1980s cop show fame in T.J. Hooker. And then I saw him on a Broadway show years later, So
is your point here that it's a good film because they managed to get jobs after it?
No. That is not the only criteria for why I think this is a good film.
They managed to get jobs after, so it must have been some kind of success.
So a little history on this.
Can we not debunk some of the stuff you're saying now? Because you're throwing a lot of statements out here. I'm like, hold on, you're going into all the stuff. And we're like,
because I was doing the synopsis. That then we would get into the discussion. Wait. Let me just give the baseline for why I have a lot of these opinions. I saw Grease 2 before I saw Grease 1. It aired on television when I was on broadcast TV when I was a kid. So I'm guessing I was 8 or 9 years old watching this film, and I had my tape recorder. I recorded the songs so that I could listen to the songs back on my own. And while the songs are highly inappropriate, I would run around singing them. And so, so that's why this film remains a classic in my eyes. Okay, now feel free to counterpoint anything.
I don't know. Nat, you go first.
Okay. The songs. So, you did say they were very memorable. I mean, I have seen Grease, obviously, the Grease one. I know, Dave, you've not as familiar with Grease 1. But I would say the songs are a lot more memorable from that one than this one. The only one I could literally... I mean, I've got a list of the songs that are in it in front of me and what I rated them. But the only one that I could actually, pinpoint that I could remember the tune to... Well, maybe two. Probably Cool Rider and Reproduction.
Yeah.
Those are the only two in my head where I can actually think of the tune of those.
Like, who's that guy? I was like, okay, no. I'm trying to remember the song. When he told us about the...
Who's that guy?
Yeah. And he's just like a stupidest helmet he's ever wearing. And the bike's not even part of the type of bikes that they're riding.
Well, because he has to go and assemble the bike himself from the junkyard.
Oh, also, you said about Michael being Sandy's cousin, but he's from England and she came from Australia, right?
I know. No, fully agree. But they set up the point because I was taking notes as I watched. I didn't pick this up in previous viewings. When he meets Frenchie, who arguably is not doing much in this film, except kind of tying the two films together, Frenchie says...
What's her role? Because is she still at school? Because she's flunked out so much.
It's tenuous. It's not very well explained. Basically, in the original Grease, because you haven't seen it, Dave, Frenchie drops out of high school and she goes to beauty school. And apparently she flunks out of beauty school too. And then who knows what happens to her in the rest of Grease. But in this one, she's come back to the high school just to take chemistry because she wants to specialize in skincare. I argue relevant for today's audiences. She is skincare icon. But yeah, basically she's just, the reasoning is she's just there to take chemistry. But then I looked up some trivia and apparently they were writing this movie as they went.
Yeah. Some of the songs they came up with, they were kind of just making it up as they were going. They're very rushed.
Yeah.
To making these songs.
I feel like they've made him Sandy's cousin just so they could include Frenchie and maybe bring back some of the original audience, as a fan favourite.
Yeah, and then they didn't know what to do with her. So they had one scene later where she's kind of doing chemistry, I guess.
Yeah, there's some smoke.
But she makes the point that this is Sandy's cousin from England.
The thing I was going to mention, that when you were talking about them in with the nuclear...
Oh, the fallout shelter. That was a very questionable scene.
According to this film, it's nucleoid fallout shelter.
It's very much like, who are these two characters I'm watching at the moment?
It's a bit date rapey. For some reason, though, I loved that scene as a kid. I don't know if that's somewhat problematic of myself, indicative of the kind of men I fall for as an adult.
I just felt like any kissing scene, no one really knew what they're just kind of eating each other's mouth.
I would say that the original Grease is very much the same. Like the Kinnicky and Rizzo kisses are very much like that.
Yeah, I feel like the opening number was quite funny because
I think the opening Back to School in Grease 2 compared to Grease 1 is a better opening song.
My issue with it is that it lasts 7 minutes and 45 seconds. I did note that down.
It was quite long.
So we're like nearly 10 minutes in and we're only in like one song.
Well, the opening of the two ladies coming. Oh yeah, my favourite character by far is the one that does the little dung 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 dung.
Blanche. Yeah, she's Blanche. Always been my favourite from the first one.
She just seems like she's there, doesn't really know why she's there, but she's in a film and she's loving it.
Yeah, there's some fun slapstick moments. There's Blanche, and then there's the teacher that has to go away because he's like got a nervous condition. He does some really fun things.
Oh, the guy falls over and
comedy.
stuff. He's shaking his hand and all that, and then they replace him with this. Oh yeah, and there's that new teacher that comes in to replace to do the. And I'm just like, too much stuff going on, but there's so much stuff going on, but there's no plot. It's just
there's a big.
They're all two.
There's
the
a plot.
Cool kids. Oh, the big. What's it called? The big show at the end.
Okay. I never noticed this before, but the talent show is like the most important thing in this high school. They do talent show auditions like first week of school, and then they are practicing and like redoing stuff all the way until the end of the school year. And then I would like to say, as the one American here, we do not choose our king and queen of high school based on.
Oh my god, I wrote that down. I said that. I was like, this isn't a prom. Why are they choosing a king and queen of the talent show? I was like, what if there was a group in the talent show? Are they just going to pick one person out of it to be the king or queen?
They were both in groups.
That's true.
Yeah, so I'm like, how do you pick one person? The other part of the talent show was that in the original Grease, the T-Birds would be nowhere near a talent show.
Yeah, but these ones are, Natalie, because they're
way too cool.
No, he wants the Roy Orbison records. Goose wants the Roy Orbison records, and then they all support him in that.
I still think if you have the original crew of the T-Birds, there is no way they would be like, that's like preppy, and we're not being part of that.
I will admit, the T-Birds between the original and this one are a bit diluted. And there's some like weird, like they set up that there's like rules about T-Birds and Pink Ladies. And I don't know where these rules come from, but clearly they're going to kill out both organizations because there seems to be no effort to recruit new T-Birds. Because when the T-Birds see somebody cool riding a motorcycle, their first response is, let's kill him, instead of we need to recruit new blood to the T-Birds. And then apparently you can't be a pink lady unless you're dating a T-Bird, which did make me wonder how Paulette was a T-Bird or a pink lady.
No, I did write that down. I was like, in the original movie, I never got the impression that the T-Birds owned the pink ladies, because I don't think Rizzo would have ever gone like with the fact that she was owned by a T-Bird.
No.
And like Johnny's just getting his mac on with everybody, expecting them to be like, you're part of my property. But
well, clearly Johnny is still in love with Stephanie.
I don't know. I think he's in love with
the problem is we've never actually seen them in a decent relationship. So we've only got what we see to judge their relationship on, which is like toxic, obviously.
Yeah, very bad.
Yeah, so it's established in the, I would argue, the 7 minutes of Back to School are to establish everybody's relationships and what's going on. So we start off when we meet all the characters in the opening song, and you come to find out Johnny, the leader of the T-Birds, and Stephanie, who seems to be the leader of the Pink Ladies, but there doesn't really seem to be that kind of structure in the Pink Ladies per se, are now broken up. Even before it's announced that they're broken up, Paulette is immediately after Johnny.
I would say that Paulette looks a lot more mature than the other pink ladies.
The mid-30s
Agreed.
character.
The majority of them were in their mid-20s, so maybe people just looked harder back in the early 80s.
So my idea with this film, if it could be jigged around and changed to make for a better storyline, to have a plot, I guess, because what I saw the plot was mainly focusing on this talent show and then the ending, and obviously this desire between this English guy and Stephanie. But what I think it should be focused that should be your main focus. Stephanie and British guy. But
it was the main
kind
focus.
Of a thing. But no, it kind of felt like it was just stuff happening, and then we'll throw this bit near the end, and they can eat ketchup and not eat ketchup on a burger. It's up to them.
I argue that the Stephanie and Michael plot drives the film.
Hold on. No, this is what I did. So I'm saying that's the main driving force. So I feel like that should have been the main focus, about him trying to be a T-Bird, and because you had the other rival gang bike as well, so it could have been a thing where this new guy has to kind of step up and join the T-Birds, understand what it is to be a T-Bird, and maybe they do like a bike race thing with these other people, and then that impresses Stephanie is what makes a good person, thing over it, rather than just focusing on this school and bowling and all this other stuff. And because Johnny doesn't
school
really
and bowling
seem like
were just things happen.
Yeah, no, but I feel like that
school.
could have been all focused more on like him trying to be a T-Bird, because at the end they kind of just go, yeah, you're that mystery person, here's your jacket, you didn't die, cool. It could have been like a thing where he's trying to be a T-Bird and becomes one, and they're trying to beat the other biker gang to be the better person.
I don't know if he wants to be a T-Bird. His major focus is having Stephanie fall in love with him.
Yeah,
and so his character arc is, okay, he first has to buy the motorcycle. And to do that, he starts writing papers for everybody. So that kind of establishes
I don't remember him doing
He did. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing their essays, yeah.
And so then he buys the motorcycle. Then he has to learn how to ride the motorcycle. And there's that whole scene where he's like trying to learn how to ride the motorcycle. And then it's him trying to win her as the mysterious motorcycle. Who's that guy? And then all the other stuff is just high school. It's like coloring in the, what does everybody in this town do? They like to bowl. So we go to the bowling alley.
I would say Dave mentioned the rival gang.
Yeah.
The leader of that, the crater face, or
Yes.
I found out after researching his name's actually Balmudo?
Yeah, they say it a couple
Obviously,
of
it's the
times
same guy from Grease 1.
Yeah, it does not make sense why he is still terrorizing.
Why is he now just picking on, like, high school kids? Now it's, like, a crime, I feel like. Like, when he was also in a rival high school.
But yeah, no, it's not. They just needed a baddie, and probably that guy. I mean, I don't know what else that guy has done acting wise. He was probably free.
Yeah, I feel like they need to establish more of a bad character than the antagonist, because I feel like he would have been a good antagonist rather than Johnny kind of being this antagonist sort of / anti-hero kind of like midpoint of like, I'm a bit of an arsehole, I am an arsehole. Actually, nah, we're all good at the end. You're part of our team, even though I'm a bit of a prick. So I'm like, okay, why would you want to be part of the
Johnny
team?
never redeems himself for
No,
me. I feel like he treats Paulette terribly, especially when
agreed,
he's like,
yeah.
cover yourself up, but then he's like, no, nobody else is allowed to have you. But yet he doesn't want to either.
I kind of feel that storyline, it could have been like, what makes a T-Bird? How do you start from zero, from the pecking order, and then he works his way up to get there, which he kind of does, and he does become at the end, but
Yeah.
I reckon that could have been more of a main focus rather than this talent show.
Well, I think that the T-Birds are going to die out because in the final graduation scene, even Davy, who looks much younger than the rest of the T-Birds, is graduating. So, like, there's no T-Birds the next year unless there's like the junior T-Bird League that have been establishing themselves in and are unconnected to the current
But yeah.
T-Bird.
Obviously, Grease 1 was all about cars. Why have they changed it to motorbikes?
Because it's updating. It's evolving.
2 years,
Now motorcycles are cool.
but the attitudes aren't evolving.
I think partially I think it's because they had like a stunt driver and they could do, jumping over the cop cars, Evel Knievel style.
Is it because they could put a helmet on him so that they didn't recognize who he was?
That's probably also true, because then he also has like the huge goggles on. Granted, he does not protect his chest when he's driving that motorcycle, though. It's always leather jacket, no shirt. zip down.
I mean, she doesn't even wear a helmet, and she's like straddling him at one point.
But like, clearly she likes adventure. The risk.
Oh, right.
Nat, did you care about Michael at all? Did you want him to succeed, or was he just like...
No, I didn't like Michael, and I didn't like Stephanie. I actually thought that the relationship that was more interesting was the relationship between Mr. Stewart and Miss Mason. Which was the Miss Mason, the blonde bombshell teacher and the substitute teacher. I thought they were a much more interesting couple, so I'm rooting for them.
There's no real tension between them.
No, not really. But then I didn't feel like there was much tension between Michael and Stephanie, because they didn't actually have a proper conversation until 1 hour and 20 minutes in, when they were at the diner.
They had more conversation, I feel, than Sandy and Danny had, though, in the original Grease.
Yeah, but Sandy and Danny had a whole summer together that we didn't see on screen.
Presumably, they could have just been making out and dry humping under the boardwalk. I knew
My thing with Sandy and Danny was that Danny still loved Sandy, even if she hadn't changed into a bit of a hoe at the end. Like, he still loved her. He would have still got with her. Whereas Michelle Pfeiffer would not have got with Michael. She did not even acknowledge him.
I think she eventually would have somewhat come to appreciate him after they have the complete bonding session in the hamburger joint, which I noted down in my notes. This is why Dave would hate the movie, because Michelle Pfeiffer says, "How can you eat a hamburger with no ketchup?" And then she proceeds to hammer that point home. They like dressed that hamburger like it was bleeding. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, and every line she's got to take, she's got to douse her mouth with that napkin.
Yeah.
She's like, she's murdered. So I was like, what happened?
I literally have in my notes, Dave's nightmare.
Yeah, he hates a condiment.
But they have like a full conversation there, and then afterwards they're walking through the halls.
Yeah, but it's an hour and 20 minutes in.
Well, there's a lot of build up. What else do they have? Well, they have to go to the bowling alley.
Bowling?
Well, they have to establish that Stephanie needs a certain type of man in her life. So we can go back to the bowling scene, because I feel like that was like peak in production value. But we early on in the film established that Stephanie wants a cool rider. And she sings this song, and she's got like Taylor Swift red lipstick on, and she just exudes. She got black on black, and then her like pink ladies jacket inside out, and so that's a black jacket on that, and she's like dancing around after the talent show auditions, I guess. And just like establishes she's not accepting just any man in her life. She wants the Harlequin romance cool rider guy. Like,
in comes this guy who's never driven a bike before.
Yeah, exactly.
In like a couple of days, this is the coolest rider I've ever
It's not a couple
seen.
days.
He comes in looking like Jason Priestley in 90210.
Guys, I've had a go on my bike. I'm the coolest rider. I can jump over a car there's clearly no ramp. But I mean, like, for the director, it's her first film. She's not directed a film before. She's directed, obviously, the Grease musical, and she was the choreographer for the first one. But I don't know if you should give her the role as director, though, because I don't think she focused more on the dancing and stuff.
It's a movie musical.
Story. I think that's what
you need good choreography.
Feels flat about it. I mean, she can choreograph it, but she doesn't, like, maybe someone else could have taken over the directing role so you can actually care about these characters.
The director isn't necessarily writing the story. It's like whoever was writing, or like, as we mentioned before, kind of writing on the fly. But, I feel like it's still somewhat cohesive. As far as like musical production scenes, the bowling scene, it's got like super choreography.
We keep going back to this bowling scene.
I mean, clearly, the most important thing in this town is bowling.
I just feel like in many ways it just feels like a series of like musical set pieces.
I mean, that's a lot of what musicals are.
Yeah,
character driven.
I mean, it had double the budget of what the original Grease had. It was made on an £11 million budget. Well, no, not pound, dollars, sorry. $11 million budget. It made $15 million. But the original Grease made $396.3 million. So, in comparison, not great.
Well, I know, this is generally considered a bad film. Then that's why it's my hear me out, because it is universally thought of. But I feel like it has, with Gen Xers, I feel like it has gained some camp and, like, hear me out status, because I think we grew up this being probably played on CTV several times. It plays into sort of the Gen X sense of humor of these, like, pretty filthy jokes. disguised as, innocuous humor. Which leads me to my favorite musical number in this movie, Reproduction.
That was mine!
Reproduction, when I was 8 or so years old watching this film, used to run around singing that song, thinking I was being, like, really subversive and, like, dirty. Oh, like it was little Catholic Danielle was, like, swearing by singing Reproduction. It's so catchy.
It is catchy. That was my favourite song.
Yeah, what's it for, though?
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
It ends on that missed period joke. I would have never picked up on that as a kid.
I mean, I think I picked that one as my favourite one because I like Mr. Stewart.
Since you brought it up, song rankings. So we've established that Natalie and I loved Reproduction the most. What was your top song, Dave?
Well, the only one that comes to mind is the Back to School Again one.
I gave that a 2.
It's just it was the longest. So what about Prowlin'?
Prowlin' is the bottom of the list. The multiple iterations of Prowlin' too.
I just think Back to School is the best one, just because I guess it introduced all the characters. There's like, it just made me giggle a bit because you got all these different, like, oh, we're the cool ones with this, but they all turn up on time. Like, obviously, like Nat said, the song was 7 minutes long. 7 minutes before the classes even started. On time. It's like nowadays in a school, like them being on, no one's on time. Everyone's at least like 20 minutes late. So even like the bad kids are all on time and ready to go into their class, although they're mucking around in there.
What was everybody's least favorite song? For me, I think it was Prowlin'.
Charades. I put a 1 for Charades, the Michael song.
Charades?
Yeah, it's the one where he's like singing and it sounds like he's like whispering the song. You can hardly hear him.
I remember half of the songs. Probably the one in the bunker.
Oh, I gave that a 4.
Just because I don't know, just because I can't. I forgot all about it. So
the Michael song, I put it's the hopelessly devoted to you of this movie. It's a song I'd fast forward.
I will concur with your assessment of it. It's like a dream sequence where he's like thinking about her. But he's like having...
Yeah, it's like just after he's had his lunch in the cafeteria, isn't it? Where he's had like the saddest lunch. It's like one meatball on a plate.
I thought it was just dessert. I thought he got a piece of cake for lunch.
Oh, I thought it was like one single meatball that was massive.
I think it's the one in the bunker, or it'll be the one where she's singing and there's all those like mounting of like bikes because she thought he was dead.
Oh, turn back the hands of time.
I was like, can we wrap this up a bit? Like,
I gave
it was the song that won her the talent show queen.
Yeah,
it was. Well, but I liked A Girl for All Seasons.
I did too.
Song.
Did you do a school talent show at your? Because we didn't have them in the UK.
We had talent shows, but it was more like just sing like a... Yeah, I remember being in a talent show at my school.
We never had a competition.
But it was like...
in my school.
Did you have one a year, Danielle?
No, we just had... I remember having one in elementary school. Because I think I played piano in one. And then there was... When we were in 5th grade, we had a very popular homeroom teacher, and he would play the guitar. He would play like country songs on the guitar for us. And so that year, each grade did an entry for the talent show. And he sang this song, Get Off Your High Horse Woman, and like all of us danced around. It's so bizarre. I don't know why we did that. We just danced around him and sang this song.
I just want to know a bit about the school cultures and stuff, because obviously you do have different types of people. You have the people that who introverted and extroverted and the popular kids and all that, but obviously in this it's very like those stereotypes really push home. But in America, was it kind of like that? And obviously you none of us were.
I would like to establish, while I am older than the two of you, I was not alive during the 60s.
No, but was it because with us in secondary school, we've got uniforms and stuff like that, so there's no area for someone to be in those jocks
that's true,
nerds and all that kind of stuff. You could have those traits, but they're not very established because we've all got the same uniform.
You will be very disappointed. I went to a private school, and so I also had uniforms.
Wasted. Delete this.
But I think
Bring a
out in
proper
the edit.
American in.
No, I think all movies sort of over accentuate school cliques, like even like Mean Girls and like even more modern high school films.
Who's that young girl who was like the pigtails? Was she supposed to be in like a younger sister?
Yeah, she's supposed to be
she was
Paulette's
like
sister.
4'2". I was like, are they trying to dress her up like a 10-year-old kind of thing? Yeah.
She was like a carbon copy of Jan from the first film.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
Basically.
sort of like,
it seemed to me they were going to make her and Michael have more of a like back and forth, because at the end, like
she's like we can't be together or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it made me think that she was supposed to like tag along with more of his like growth arc, and that didn't sort of play through. But yeah, it was a bit odd. Like, looking at her age, she was 16 when this was filmed, whereas the rest of them were in their mid-20s. So I don't know what the actual difference in age between Paulette and her sister was supposed to be. There are a lot of undeveloped plots and stories in here. Like, for the most part, the rest of the T-Birds and Pink Ladies have no focus. They're just sort of around Johnny and Stephanie. And then, out of nowhere, we get the side plot where Lewis is going to try and fool Sharon into thinking that World War III is happening so that she'll have sex with him in the fallout shelter.
one of the points you said, I'm just trying to wrap this into a nice little circle at the start, was this film completely outshines the first one, or you at least it said it's much better than the first one.
Yes.
That was your thoughts. Why do you think this is better than... So many people know the songs, you go weddings and stuff and they sing the whole Summer Loving song, everybody loves those bits, but you're saying this one, no.
I mean, I don't think people should be singing like Summer Lovin' at weddings. That seems a bit off.
They're doing it because they love it. Why is this film better?
I mean, but I would say because I have a big problem with the original Grease in that in the end, Sandy has to make herself into something that's completely not her for Danny to be able to accept her.
But so does Michael.
Yeah, but I would argue that she starts falling for him. But he does like Sandy puts on tight pants, teases out her hair, and picks up a smoking habit. None of those are very helpful in any regard. Michael...
Yeah, all the rapey vibes of this film.
No. Michael learns the skill. He's clearly a smart guy because he cheats and writes papers for everyone, so he could presumably go to college. But also...
However, he shouldn't be writing papers for anyone because that's wrong.
Agreed. There's a bit of, a moral loophole in here.
No, let's carry on your point, so keep going.
But he could get a job at a circus afterwards if he wanted. He's so good at riding motorcycle. He's found like his calling in life.
I can't wait for Grease 3.
And that's why it's...
With him in like a cage riding a motorcycle around.
Well, here's a discussion point. If they were to make a Grease 3 in modern times... How do you think they would update it? Like, we've gone from cars to motorcycles.
Wait. Before we answer that question, why is this second one... So the problem with the first one is the girl changes the way you get the guy in the end. And is that why the second one's better?
For me, maybe it's because the guy has to change for the girl, and the girl has her standards throughout. Like, I wouldn't even say Danny had standards. He was just, like, bending to peer pressure that he couldn't be with Sandy because she was too square in his view of things. Stephanie has,
at the end, he puts on a jumper. And he was going to change.
Yeah, but then he clearly...
Everybody wants to go on one of those, like, crazy carnival houses and reenact that scene.
No one wants to go bowling after that.
I'm like, I could give bowling a miss.
Made me... I watched it last night. I want to do a talent show.
And they fly away in a car at the end.
Yeah, makes no sense. That always bothered me, too. Didn't understand what was going on with that. And this one, they graduate, and then they become yearbook pictures.
Oh, they do. They jump. There's a random picture of the person. I couldn't remember who he was, but they stopped it on him.
But they were all characters. They didn't have
they were
anybody.
all, like, either T-Birds or Pink Lady people.
I was like, I don't know who else these people are jumping around.
And they had, like, a nice little graduation song where we'll be together forever.
Yeah. Another, like, we're trying to reclaim the we go together hype.
And it takes it full circle. They each get, like, their little part to close out their story arcs.
I feel like only Paulette had a story arc. She was the only one that actually, like, stood up for herself in the end and was like, no, I'm not going to take this.
Lewis, in his part of the song, asks, am I going to score? And she says, sometimes being friends is just enough.
So you think the journey the kids go on this one is they learn more about themselves and how to act?
But it's like
than
any
they do
high
in the
school
other film.
drama. That's the story of it.
No, because in the first one, Rizzo thinks she's pregnant. But then
On this
she's
one, someone thinks
not.
they're pregnant and they just shut
Yeah,
her away.
exactly. They're just like, next scene.
Okay, so baking the grease free.
Oh, yeah, in
Yeah.
What
nowadays.
would that be about?
So you'd have what? The computer kids?
Well, that's just High School Musical, isn't it?
No, I would say that High School Musical is very
'Cause-
far removed from what schools are like nowadays.
Do we have to wait until we have hover cars to do the next one? So that they have
Well,
like
yeah,
the
we
next
can't
vehicle?
have. Yeah, well, it'd be like electric cars or something.
Or like cyber trucks.
It'd be like influencers, wouldn't you? You have the influencers.
Oh, that's a good idea.
The TikTok.
And then you hire like those influencers in their first movie roles because you have to get sort of like young hot people to be in it.
Well,
I
you
couldn't
say
name
young.
any
We're still getting like the 20-year-olds in to play like high school students.
the 30-year-olds.
I felt, midway through the film, I started looking at the men's hairlines in this movie, and those pompadours were not nice to their receding hairlines.
So we go to looking at our judging of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say my final question. Well, I have two final questions, but who was your favorite T-Bird and Pink Lady?
Oh, okay. I put Goose as my favourite T-Bird. I don't really know who my favourite Pink Lady was. Probably Paulette, because I said that she had the character arc that I cared about the most.
I think, well, controversial though.
It's okay.
I did like Johnny the most.
What did you like about him the
He's sort
most?
of- I don't know, because he's trying to, like the start, he was like, I'm the bad boy kind of character, and he was a bit aggressive with his other mates, and I was like, okay, he's a bit of an arse. But then over the course of the film, got a bit comical and was a bit of an idiot himself. So although he was a bit of he's rude to everyone all the time, but I could kind of see like he's just a bit of an idiot. And like at the end when he's in the water and they're trying to get over and she's yelling at him to try and get him.
Oh,
get wet, and she's trying to shout stuff at her, and I'm like, he has no idea what he's
I
doing.
did put,
He's not
yeah,
cool.
Stephanie's too much drama in that scene. He's trying to help and she's just screaming at him.
Yeah, you're doing it wrong, and she's like, "Oh, I'm trying to do it this way." And it's all like, oh, you know what? He's just a bit of fun. He don't know. What
If anything, that scene showed why they should have not been together. Like, I'm sure that's why they broke up.
Yeah.
They could not communicate properly. Did you like any of the Pink Ladies?
I don't know. None of them. The Johnny's like bit on the side, I guess. The one that stood up for herself at the end.
Paulette, yeah.
So the same answer as Natalie. Is bit on the
Paulette.
side.
Like, Stephanie,
A bit on the side.
yeah, she's good. I think because she's the one I could always remember because she was just like palming after him, but also then at the end she was like, you know what, I want to do this. This is for me. I want to go out there.
Yeah. See? Character.
How about you,
My-
Danielle?
My favorite Pink Lady was Sharon, who was the one who was like organizing the talent
show. Yeah.
I enjoyed like her drive. She was like singular minded in getting these 12 women to come together to do Girl for All Seasons. She had like a artistic focus. And then she
She's the one
was
that's-
trying to act cool the whole time and had her like unlit cigarette on a cigarette
Oh,
holder.
yeah.
And I enjoyed her
She's the one that
fashion
always went,
choices.
we haven't shown the seasons yet.
We haven't what?
We haven't done the
Yes,
seasons
yeah,
yet.
yeah.
Is that the one that says we haven't done this season?
Yeah.
You're, like, you're through. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. And I think I liked her too because she was in the movie Fame, which is another one
Oh,
that I
is she?
watched way too young. Yeah. But I also liked the fashion choices they had for her. On the scene where they're in the bunker, she's got like this cute vintagey looking like keyhole top, and then she wears like a different patterned yellow scarf around her waist with her jeans and like a beret. Just found her fun. Maybe it's just like my type or something. I don't know. I liked Lewis too. Dead
You have to
silence.
remind me what one Lewis is.
I don't know why. Like the let's do
Is
it
that
for
the
the
short
country guy.
Oh, okay. So you just like them as a couple, really?
I think so. Yeah.
Oh, the one.
And
yeah,
who
I
is
know
your
exactly
least
that one.
favourite?
Johnny is my least favorite T-Bird. Just
Yeah.
out of process of elimination. Like, I thought Goose had some good humor moments, and like Davey just seemed like a sweet guy. And Johnny's playing with the two girls the whole time was kind of
Yeah.
gross. And then I don't even know what her name was. The one that they said had the nose job, and just because they gave her nothing, like they had one line about her getting a nose job, and then nothing else for the rest of the movie. Anybody else have any strong opinions?
I put Johnny as the worst T-Bird and Stephanie as the worst Pink Lady.
Look, as a Pink Lady, she wasn't good. Like, she really didn't want to be in the organization and just wanted to do her own thing.
Yeah. I just feel like she didn't really like Michael. She liked the idea of what she wanted, and then once he fitted into that criteria, then she was like, okay then. And what's yours, Dave?
I don't know. They're all crap. Anyway, they're all forgettable losers that don't need to be watched.
I guess that comes to our rating and whether you'd recommend or watch this again. And clearly I have my opinion. And, you know, I'm not look, I know it's not like the best film ever. I know it's you know, kind of silly, but I enjoy it, and I'm glad I made you guys watch it.
But you can't say you can say it's a good film in your own opinion, you like it, but you can't. I don't think you can say it's better than the original.
I'm glad I've watched it, but I probably wouldn't watch it again.
Dave?
I'm going to give it 1 lime out of 5.
I'm giving it 2 limes out of 5.
I'll give it 3.5 to 4. 3.5.
Oh.
Okay, well that's still like,
5.
even though you're like, I really like it, I feel like you've been very diplomatic with that. It's not a favourite film. She's just saying she likes it, whereas kind of universally panned.
Yeah, if I had to pick a hear me out, I think this was the clearest one that is, like you said, clearly panned film that has a special place in my heart. Yeah. And I've seen this lot, like not live, like on, like in a theater with a bunch of people in the same mindset. And it's a lot of fun. When I was living in San Francisco, there was this, theater chain that did, you know, food and special events. And it was like me and all the gays of San Francisco watching this movie together. And that was a real fun experience.
Yeah, so it's got like nostalgia for you.
Yeah.
Which I suppose is going to be the common theme with all of the ones that we're going to be picking. It's probably the nostalgia.
Yeah, and then on that note, so next time we'll be looking at either Nat's one or my one. So stay tuned.
Are we going to say what our ones would be?
No, that's a secret.
It's a secret, okay.
Yeah, you have to wait and see. If you tell them now, they won't come back. Oh, it's that one.
Or they might be like, I'm going to watch it beforehand and then I'll know what they're talking about.
No, they've probably seen them.
Well, I mean, since this isn't airing live anywhere, they could see a title and then watch it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. You're true, yeah, okay.
Yeah, also, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen Grease.
Oh, yeah!
Oh, we didn't do a spoiler.
You've had since 1982, but yeah, spoilers.
Look,
if you've not seen Grease 2...
If you see a movie like Grease 2, you know what's going to happen in the end. There's not going to be some very surprise ending. They're getting together.
Spoilers for Grease 2. If you've not seen it, pause the podcast. Come back to it after.
Pause the podcast at the end of it, yeah.
Retroactively pause the podcast. We're going to do a brain swipe here now so that you forget that you ever heard the ending of Grease 2.
Go watch Grease 2 and then come back and then you'll understand.
You'll understand.
Or you know what? Watch it again.
I'll watch it again.
Not like we'll be doing with Grease 2, yeah.
But yeah,
I look forward to tearing apart whatever your film is, Dave.
Oh, I can't wait. See you later.
See you next time.
Oh, is this how we're ending? Okay, bye.
Yeah. See you. Bye.
Bye.